Hello and welcome back to my channel. Don't forget to subscribe, like and comment on this video. Let's get the channel to 20k. Okay, let's get into the video. We all know how South Africa has been so vocal about supporting Palestine or their stance in this conflict. We have seen this in the comments. A lot of South Africans do stand with Palestine, and not so long ago I remember sharing a video by a South African famous politician, Julius Malema, who was heard saying that the people of Palestine are what Mau Mau was, and the people of South Africa are what Palestinian people are today. Now, he went on to say that South Africa will always support Palestine because the people of South Africa can relate to what Palestinian people are going through today. The war is against a Zionist state of Israel. But in this video, a Zionist goes for South Africa for cutting its ties with Israel's diplomatic relationship, where a man in this video is heard saying that America has to stand up and end all financial support to South Africa. Check out this video.
So the South African government just voted to end all diplomatic relations with Israel. Okay, that's fine. The United States needs to stand up and end all financial support to South Africa. I believe that's $1.1 billion a year. What goes around comes around. One of these days, these people are going to learn. And if you can't stand with Israel and believe in allowing them to defend their right to exist on this planet, then we don't need to be doing business with you anyway.
Guys, when did we get to this point? Honestly, why should they stop doing business with South Africa just because they support Palestine? Why is it that the support has to be forced when it comes to Israel? Like, there are many threats. If really what Israel is doing is right, then support wouldn't have been this forced. How on earth should people support the unalivings of millions and millions of people? Let's check out a few stitches. I will be right back.
And if you can't stand with it,
there's absolutely nothing that South Africa or the global South can learn from the USA. What we possibly get to view once again is how the USA supports genocide, sanctions war crimes, and invests in an oppressor like Israel. That's what we are seeing. That's what the whole world is seeing. As for cutting ties, the USA is terrified that China will increase its interests in the global South. They are also afraid of BRICS. So we've had this threat bandied around so many times. One of these days, the USA needs to learn that it cannot bully everyone else.
Hey, old man, you know the greatest sin that your leaders has ever done? It is not going around the world dropping bombs, killing women and children, old people, displacing people, creating offense. That is not the greatest sin that your leaders has ever done in the West. But the greatest sin your leaders has ever done, it was to brainwash you and hypnotize you people. Your leaders has brainwashed their own people to believe in lies. You are sitting there in that part of the world. You think that South Africa needs America. That's not the case. Wake up. We don't need you. It is you who needs us. That is why we don't care who does business with you as Americans. But you do. Why is that? You can't even read between the lines. That tells you that you are being brainwashed. We don't need you. Let me tell you, my grandpa. Look, if our leaders were to announce like tomorrow that we're cutting ties with America, there's no diplomatic relationship with America, I can tell you the streets of South Africa will be jam-packed by people celebrating. We'll be having like braais everywhere. I know in your side of the world you call it barbecue. We call it braai here. But the real braais here. I know that when you are saying you are doing barbecue, you're doing those hot dogs and stuff like that. Those things are for our kids for school lunch. We don't do it to celebrate. But I'm not there. Look, that will be the greatest achievement, and we'll be celebrating. because America is the prison, not the other way around, my guy. It's not other. Don't be stupid. Don't be stupid. You are very old. You're gonna die stupid. You know, just fight that. Fight that. Do not allow that to happen to your life. Just try to fix your mind. Don't die stupid, my guy. Die at least knowing something that is real. That actually your country, America, has nothing. Everything that you possess, everything that you have in America has got bad on it. Because you have stole all over the world after killing children and women. You have nothing. So there is no one who needs you. It is you who needs everyone. So please try not to be stupid.
One of these days, these people are going to learn.
I am shocked that you are shocked that a country called South Africa, who is 30 years post their own apartheid, would not support another apartheid. Like, we haven't even recovered from our own. Why would we ever be in support of? I'm confused. Not shocked, but confused. Well, I am shocked because you are shocked.
Angered by the destruction and destroying of Gaza, South Africa is one of the few countries to cut diplomatic ties with Israel. President Cyril Ramaphosa has also said the unalivings and destructions are tantamount to war crimes and referred it to the International Criminal Court. Many South Africa leaders believe Israel's control over the Palestinian territories looks a lot like apartheid. South African lawmakers voted in favor of closing down the Israeli embassy in Pretoria and suspending all diplomatic relations until a ceasefire is agreed in its war with Palestinian Islamist group Hamas in Gaza. Now, the resolution is largely symbolic, as it will be up to President Cyril Ramaphosa's government whether to implement it. A presidency spokesperson said Ramaphosa notes and appreciates Parliament's guidance on South Africa's diplomatic relations with Israel, particularly on the status of the embassy. The president and cabinet are engaged over the matter, which remains the responsibility of the national executive. Ramaphosa and senior foreign ministry officials have been vocally critical of Israel's leadership during its devastating military campaign against Hamas in the densely populated Gaza Strip, calling on the International Criminal Court to investigate them for potential war crimes. The Israeli embassy did not immediately respond to a request for comment. The Israeli ambassador in Pretoria was recalled to Tel Aviv for consultations ahead of the vote, which was resoundingly adopted by a 248 to 91 margin. The parliamentary resolution was brought by the opposition Economic Freedom Fighters (EFF) party when the governing African National Congress pledged to support what has been a central diplomatic stance for South Africa since Nelson Mandela became the country's first democratically elected president in 1994. The chief whip of the ANC, Pemi Majodina, amended the last point of the EFF draft resolution, calling for the embassy's closure and diplomatic suspension to include the words "until a ceasefire is agreed to by Israel and Israel commits to binding United Nations facilitated negotiations whose outcome must be a just, sustainable and lasting peace." South Africa has backed the Palestinian cause for statehood in Israeli occupied territories for decades, likening the plight of Palestinians to those of the black majority during the repressive apartheid era, a comparison Israel vehemently denies. The EEF proposed the motion in solidarity with the Palestinian people over the Israeli destruction and invasion of Hamas-ruled Gaza, prompted by early incursion by Hamas militants into Israel on October 7. During a heated session in South Africa's parliament, all members of the governing African National Congress, which has a long history of solidarity with the Palestinians, voted in favor of cutting ties with Israel. Many wore Palestinian scarves and burst into song after the motion, originally brought by radical opposition party the Economic Freedom Fighters, passed. The vote is non-binding, but it is now up to the government to decide whether to act on the motion. The African country, which has not had an ambassador in Israel since 2018, has long backed the Palestinian cause for statehood. Many Palestinian right groups have drawn parallels between the Israeli occupation and South Africa's decades-long apartheid regime. In recent years, a growing number of international rights groups have said Israeli policies towards the Palestinians constitute the crime of apartheid, something that Israel firmly denies. South Africa also hosted a virtual summit of BRICS nations, the group of emerging economies consisting of Brazil, Russia, India, China, and South Africa, called for an immediate, durable, and sustained humanitarian truce leading to a cessation of hostilities in Gaza. As individual countries, we have demonstrated our grave concern at the unaliving and destruction in Gaza, Ramaphosa said in a social media post on Tuesday. Let this meeting stand as a clarion call for us to combine our efforts and strengthen our actions to end this historical injustice. Let us work together to realize a just, peaceful, and secure future for the people of both Palestine and Israel. A lot of people have reacted to this, and here are some of the comments. You sanctioned South Africa for apartheid. Now you want to sanction South Africa for not supporting apartheid. We are waiting for USA to do that. In fact, that's what we want, USA to do so. See if USA can survive a day without South Africa. South Africa doesn't need USA. It needs its people to stand up against colonizers running the economy and their puppets in government. South Africans got rid of apartheid state at home. South Africa will get rid of apartheid globally. Live with it. South Africa is the most influential country in the world today. I'm glad you noticed our decision. USA needs South Africa. The money you mentioned is a result of our minerals. It's a fact. There were a lot of comments, especially from South Africans, but what do you, my viewers, have to say about this Zionist video? Feel free to share your take on this. Thank you for watching.